We'll start with the prayers. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramarthanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Shaitraknya Vibhaga Yogaha. That is the title of this chapter. Very, very important chapter among all the 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. As you know very well, Bhagavad Gita is a guide to our living. And when we say a guide, it gives us practical tips of how to live a life of values. That is called as Yoga Shastra. At the end of every chapter, Lord Krishna reminds us that Bhagavad Gita has got two goals: Yoga Shastra, Brahma Vidya. Yoga Shastra deals with the practical aspects of life. From what center do I operate in my life? Do I operate at the body level, the physical existence level? Do I operate at the mind level, the psychological level? Or do I operate my life from the spiritual essence in me? When I want to operate through the spiritual essence in me, I need to know what is this essence. That essence is what is the subject matter of this chapter. That essence is called a Shaitraknya, the knowing principle. The body is the inert Jada principle. The spirit in the body, the indweller in the body, lives with the mind. That indweller is called as the soul or the jiva. Throughout our life, sitting inside this body, we are conducting our whole life. We use the body, we use the sense organs, and what do we get? We get joy and sorrow. This jiva, who is in this body, experiencing joy and sorrow, gets tired of life and asks this question, who am I? When this question arises in our mind, we can't get answers to this question. We keep on searching. Because there is a mind in this body which is acting, which is making us act in this body. We think that we are the doer, we are the karta, we are the bhokta. Now this jiva is a brother, is a sister, is a mother, is a father. All the roles it plays is with reference to the body. Without the body, the jiva also exists. Without the mind also, the jiva exists. It is not aware of this principle. So this jiva accumulates wealth, accumulates a property, lives in this body, lives in an external house, and then it conducts the whole life. It thinks that that is all life. 99.99% of the people living on earth, they go through this joy and sorrow. They believe they are the body, and then the scriptures tell us they take another body when they leave this body. Rare are those people whose mind are evolved. They are the people who come and ask this question, is there anything else in life which I don't know? This is where the spiritual journey of a jiva starts. It may start 5 years ago, it may start 1 year ago, it may start in the previous birth, it can start anytime. For each one of us, the starting point is at a different period of time. The answer to this question of who am I, there is only one answer, and that is, I am the spiritual essence in this body. I am the spiritual essence in this entire universe. That essence is called a Shaitraknya, which is being revealed in this chapter. And what is Shaitram? Verse number 2 and verse number 3 are the most important verses in this chapter. I don't know, there are so many important verses, but as of now, the definition of what is Shaitram, the definition of what is Shaitraknya are given in verse 2 and verse 3. We are discussing verse 3 now. Shaitram means field of experience. The field of experiences are 3 in number. The waking state is one field, one part of our existence. The dream state is another field of experience, another state of our existence. The sleep state is another state of our experience, another field. Beyond these 3 fields is the ultimate field. It is not even called a field, it is something beyond the field, it is beyond words. That is the description of Shaitraknya, the knower principle. If I want to know this essence in me, I have to drop the 3 levels of experiences which are called as Shaitram. This is a step-by-step understanding of who we are. Many a times we take the body and the mind away from the Shaitram. This is a common mistake everybody makes when they study the chapter 13. So here we must be very careful. We must put our body into the Shaitram. We must put our mind into the Shaitram, which is the field of experience. I know my body. I know my mind. Who is the knower? The knowing principle is described as Shaitraknya. So Shaitram is the field of experiences which includes the body and mind. When I see this body, I am the knower of the body. I am not the body. When I see my car, I am the knower of my car. I am not the car. Only because the body is the close entity to the knowing principle, we take the body as ourself. Like for example, many of us, we wear spectacles. We forget that we see through the spectacles. When we want to enumerate all the things in this body, we forget the spectacles. Spectacle is also a part of the Shaitram. The body is Shaitram. Body is not the seer. Mind is not the seer by itself. Seer means what? It means the knower. So Shaitraknya is when I experience this body in the waking state, as soon as we all wake up in the morning, we see this body. What Lord Krishna is saying is, you are the knowing principle, you are not the body. We all use the body as an instrument like we use a car. It is an instrument for transaction during the waking hours. This instrument is taken off in the dream state. We take on another instrument for experience, the dream body. In the sleep state, we drop off the dream body, and then both the bodies are resting. The physical body, the gross body, the subtle body are dropped by the jiva, and he is resting. Where is he resting? He is resting in the causal body, Karana Sharira. Beyond this causal body, the sleeper is this Shaitraknya. I want you to understand, where is this knowing principle? Where is this consciousness principle? How do I locate this consciousness principle? I want each one of you to travel with me so that you can all reach the same core as what is being described by Lord Krishna. Once we know what is the goal, where are we heading, the spiritual essence in us, then it is easy to appreciate this whole chapter properly. If you get lost, then you'll be wondering, where am I? What is this verses they are talking about me? How can I be this particular aspect of the essence in me? So go through step by step. This is how we have to understand the core essence in us. Once we understand the core essence, then anytime we are trying to understand ourselves, we have to remember, I am the Shaitraknya, I am the consciousness, I am the Sat Chit Ananda principle. There is a lot of study behind this Ātman. All the texts which we will be doing in future will be a focus on this particular Ātma, the consciousness in us. All the Upanishads, the only subject matter in the Upanishad is to reveal this consciousness to us. The purity of mind which we gain through the values, by living the values, is for this purpose, to know the core essence. You may think that it is very difficult, but it is not. If you follow the teaching correctly, it's very easy. You will be able to travel in that path. When you travel in the path, you will reach the goal. So with that, I will now go where we stopped last week, to verse number 3. This is where we stopped. So this verse number 3 is saying that this Shaitraknya is the same principle in all the bodies. Very, very important factor. If you miss this factor, you will not understand the core essence in us. Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarvabhuteshya Shayastitaha Aham Adishya Madhyamcha Bhutanamanta Evacha. This is also a Mahavakya of the Bhagavad Gita. I am the self. The self, whenever Lord Krishna says, it means the spiritual principle, the core essence in us. And what does he say in this verse? He says, I am seated in the hearts of all beings. Lord Krishna is there in you, he is there in me, he is there in every person whom we deal with. This is one aspect of this verse. The second aspect is, I am the beginning, the middle, and also the end of all beings. Very, very beautiful statement. If you analyze this statement, you will get a lot of corollaries, a lot of points, indicators for that Atma. I am in the beginning means what? In the past, I was there. In the present, I am there, in the middle. And in the end, I will be there. So this Atma, don't have a doubt about immortality of this Atma. So in this body, the same Jiva is realizing its nature as immortal. This is what Lord Krishna wants to tell us. We have a wrong notion that we are the body and the mind. It is an identification. There is a I, aham, in this body. All of us. I. We all say I. I am. Whether you're a Chinese, whether you're a Japanese, whether you are Korean, whether you are from any part of the world, we all say I am. That I am is a self-evident principle. There is nothing required to illumine I am. You don't require an instrument called the body. You don't require the mind. When you say I am that core, I am the essence, I am the Atma, I am the self. Full stop. After that, whatever you say belongs to the body or mind or the world. I am 50 kilos, I am tall, I am short. All this belongs to the body. I am happy, I am sad. All this belongs to the mind. I am hungry, belongs to the prana. I am thirsty, belongs to the prana in this body. I don't understand Gita. I understand Gita. This belongs to the intellect. I have a good memory. I don't have a good memory. I don't remember what I did 2 weeks ago. It's all the memory belongs to the intellect. It is a antat karanam. It is an attribute of the instrument. But who is the knower? The knower is me. I was knowing the body when I was 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. I have not changed at all. That knowing principle is called as Atma. It undergoes no change. If we are able to differentiate our body and mind and understand that body and mind is an instrument, I am the knower of the body, I am the knower of the mind, then, like I said in the last session, I have got the fruit of study of this Bhagavad Gita. That is the essence of the study. If I know I am not the body, I use the body. And throughout the life, I use the body. While using the body, I say I am the karta, the doer. I am the enjoyer. But the Bhagavad Gita also teaches me that there is an essence in me which is beyond the body, which is beyond the mind. That is my real nature. Matha parataram nanyata kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam proktam sutre mani ganaiva. The 7th verse of the 7th chapter. The 10th verse, the 20th verse of the 10th chapter, and the 7th verse of the 7th chapter. There is nothing higher than me. Higher than me here means the Lord is saying, higher than me, the consciousness principle in you. Nothing is higher. That means in the previous verse, we saw that the time comes and goes in consciousness. That is what is the essence of the previous verse, the 20th verse. I am the beginning, middle, and end means what? I am always there. I am immortal. So if I know this Atma, and I know and I can learn to identify with that Atma as me, then I can also say I am that immortal Atma. If I can boldly say that in my own mind, I don't have to tell to everybody I meet outside, do you know who I am? You don't have to do that. This is a teaching for our own self. By knowing this and by learning to do this, what happens is I am happy. Always I am happy because I identify with the Atma. Today in ignorance, we identify with the body as me, with the mind as me, and we suffer. This is what is called as samsara. This is a wrong identification. This is called as ignorance, Agyanam. The same idea is conveyed in this verse also, where he says that there is, like the beads are strung in a thread, the thread is the central essence which holds the beads. In this universe, there is a holder of all the bodies. That holder is called as Shaitraknya. That holder is called as the pure conscious being. That holder is what I am when I don't identify with the medium. I don't identify with the medium, or which is the instrument, which is the body. So without the medium, without the identification with the body or mind as me, I am the thread. To understand this, you should ask your question, who am I in my sleep state? Who am I in my sleep state? Very important question for every seeker. This is what we are going to analyze in the Mandukya Upanishad, which I'm going to start on the 7th of April on the Wednesday classes, where these 3 states are going to be analyzed in depth. So this thread, the central thread in each one of us is this Atma. Atma is nothing else but the self. This self is the same in all. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante mama buddhayaha param bhavam janantaha mama mamaavatam uttamam mamavyam munam uttamam. So here in this verse, Lord Krishna says, this is also from the 7th chapter, he says that some people think that I am the unmanifest. And manifest means what? Body, mind becomes manifest in waking. The body, mind becomes unmanifest in the sleep state. The world is manifest in the waking state. The world is unmanifest in the sleep state. This unmanifest, where does it go? It goes to the Karana Sharira. That unmanifest condition, unmanifest is another name for Karana Shariram, causal body. And beyond that, higher than the causal body is this Lord, the real nature of the Lord. That is what he says in the 24th verse. That is Shaitraknya. Naham prakasha sarvasya yoga maya samavrataha mudo yam nabhijanati loko mama javyam. I am wheeled by Maya Shakti. This Maya Shakti is nothing else but our mind. The mind is operating because it has got a power. It has got a power to manifest. It has got a power to go to unmanifest. It has got a power to sleep. That is called as Maya. And it deludes me because it confuses me. I don't know whether I am the one who is sleeping and resting and I am beyond that state, whatever I am, or I am with the body and the world and the mind. It confuses me. So here in this verse, again in the 7th chapter, he says that I am the beyond the unmanifest. I am the imperishable. The verse number is mentioned wrongly here. It should be verse 25. It's not 75. Vedaham samatitani vartamana charjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana kaschana. I know the beings of the past, present, and the future, but no one knows me. See, these are all the verses. If you try to take your mind, you will realize that Lord Krishna is revealing the imperishable nature of the pure being. That pure being is also my nature. There is a pure being in this world. That pure being has got identified with this body. It becomes the Jivatma. That pure being identifies with the entire cosmos. It becomes the Paramatma. But that pure being has an existence of its own. So here, when the Lord Krishna is saying, I know, here what does he mean? He means the reference point is the consciousness, which is the pure being. That pure being has not changed. It is the time comes in that pure being. The time, that means there is one entity, there is one pure being which exists all the time, which is called as the imperishable Brahman. It is called as Shaitraknya. Yajñātvāna punarboham evam yasyasti pandava ena bhutan yasheshena dakshasyātman yatho mayi. Knowing that you shall not again, knowing that consciousness, you will never get deluded again. Lord Krishna says in the 4th chapter. Knowing what? Knowing this Shaitraknya. So in all these verses, we see that Lord Krishna is trying to teach Arjuna the core personality, the pure essence. By knowing this pure essence, what will I get? I get clarity in life. I can be objective in all situations. All situations. Every event which comes, I am objective. I see it objectively. I can then decide very clearly what action I should take at any moment, whether it is with reference to a child who who is developing at home, whether it is in the office, whether it is in the sports ground, whether you're teaching yoga, in whatever field you are, every moment you ask the question, am I operating from the core spiritual essence in me? If you have shifted from that Shaitraknya, the consciousness principle, and you identified with the mind and then acting, identified with the body and acting, what happens? Then you get deluded. You get confused. You get strains, stresses in life. So this is the teaching. Identify yourselves with the essence and then let the life go on. I am the self. I am the pure being. I am not worried about anything. Because as the pure being, I am everything. All this exists in me, and that I am independent of the world. These are all very deep topics in the spiritual field. When you come to the self, that pure being, Lord Krishna goes very deep and he analyzes this depth, in depth, the Shaitraknya. This body is Shaitram, the one which knows the body is Shaitraknya. So we have to do this analysis ourselves. How do we do the analysis? Atma Anatma Viveka. This is called as discrimination between what is Atma in me, who am I, and what is the Anatma. Anatma means not Atma. Body is not Atma. Mind is not Atma. The sense organs are not Atma. Whatever the sense organs perceive in the world outside, the sense objects is not Atma. This is how I discriminate. That is the first step. Then what is the second step? This is a important step, and it requires very deep understanding of Atma. Anatma does not exist by itself. Atma, the reality, the pure being, exists independently. Very, very important second step. If you can understand this, then you have understood the entire chapter. Shaitraknya, everything is understood. First step is relatively easy. To say I am not the body is easy because of so many reasons. I am not the mind is also easy because of so many reasons. I am not the world, everybody knows. But when it comes to the second step, I am independently existing. This knowledge is not from any other source except the Veda. There is no other source which tells me this. That is why Bhagavad Gita is a pramanam. It is an eye of knowledge. It's an eye of self-knowledge. It reveals the self in me. The Bhagavad Gita is a mirror. Like I see the mirror and I see my face, similarly, Bhagavad Gita, the third verse of the 13th chapter is a mirror. It is showing me. It is telling me through words. These are all word descriptions of the mirror. Lord Krishna is painting a picture for me to see and understand my own experience. By analyzing my own experience, I have to see this mirror correctly. If you see the mirror correctly, you will see the reflection of the self. And here the very important point is Atma exists independently. So Shaitraknya, the seer, the consciousness, the knowledge principle is in all the Shaitram. It pervades the Shaitram. Gold pervades all chains, ring, all instruments, it pervades. But gold is different than chain. Chain, ring, bangle are name and form. Gold is the essence. You, me, the whole world is name and form. Consciousness is the essence. This is how consciousness can exist by itself. When I say, who are you in your sleep? If your answer is, I am the consciousness principle, you can boldly say, I exist without my body. Each one of us can say this, and it is the truth. It is a fact. If I attach to that consciousness, I am immortal. You can also say, I am in the beginning, I am in the middle, I am in the end. When the body leaves, I am there. Like when the body leaves, when the body is dropped in the sleep state, I am there. When the body is dropped in the dream state, I am there. This is the teaching. Ekam. This life principle is the same in plant, animal, and human. Same principle. When an insect is moving, that movement of the insect is because of the self, the consciousness principle in that small, tiny insect. Next time when you see an insect running, remember this verse, third verse of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13. That insect, small, tiny insect, running around. It also has a mind, it also has a brain, it also has the life consciousness principle. So right from an insect, small insect which moves around, to a giant elephant which can go around very slowly but with a huge body. What is the difference between an elephant and an insect? It's only the physical body which is different, but the essence behind the physical body is the consciousness principle. If I can hold on to that consciousness principle as the ekam, one principle, then I am with the Shaitraknya. From consciousness point of view, only one consciousness exists, one Ātma exists, that is eternal, immortal, changeless, but it appears as many. The sunlight is one. When you have different buckets of water, 10 buckets of water below, outside, you can see the reflection of the sun in 10 buckets because of the water surface. The water reflects sunlight. The mind is a reflecting surface for the consciousness to reflect in. You have a mind, I have a mind. We all are this consciousness principle, and that is getting reflected in this mind, in this, which is, the mind is where? Is in this body. Consciousness is where? It is everywhere. But how do I learn to understand this consciousness? By looking at the consciousness in my own mind as the light behind the mind. This is how I realize my nature as the pure being. That pure being is this light of consciousness in this mind. I drop all the other attributes of the mind. You know, I have a poor memory, drop it. I can't understand, drop it. All the other aspects of the antakaranam, I drop it. I am dull, I'm so and so, drop it. But who am I in essence? I am the consciousness, which is reflected in the mind. That is the teaching of this third verse, Shaitraknya. Every body thinks that he is some body. Bodies are many, minds are many, consciousness is one. There are no two consciousness. The nature of consciousness can be known only from the Upanishads. The Upanishads very clearly state, Ekam eva advitiyam brahma. Chandogya Upanishad. These are all sentences which reveal the truth. We have to understand the meaning of those statements. Slowly let our mind travel in that direction, and then you will see the consciousness shining in us. This is the path. This is the way to travel. Use the words of the scriptures as mirror. The verses, the words are the revelations. They will reveal to us our nature. Like this verse. This is a revelation verse. If you meditate on this verse continuously for some time, the inner meaning of this verse, that Shaitraknya principle, will be known to us. Constantly meditate. Who is this consciousness? Who is this consciousness? What is the nature of this consciousness? When we contemplate on the nature of consciousness, we will understand better. It will be crystal clear to us that I am of the essence of this pure being. That pure being is the ultimate teaching of the Bhagavad Gita. Pure being, it exists. Have a strong faith. I will come to know my real essence one day. I will follow the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita. After the study of the Gita, I will study the Upanishads. Go a little bit deeper. After Upanishads, I will study Vichara Sagara, another advanced textbook in Vedanta. When I do this analysis, this inquiry, I go deeper and deeper and deeper into my own self. And then my own intellect convinces me I am this pure consciousness. And it can never leave me because it is me. The body cannot live without this consciousness. It is dependent on this pure consciousness for its existence. Space is one indivisible entity. Everything is held in space. It is accommodating everything. Accommodation of the table, chairs, mobile, the body, everything in this whole universe, accommodation is given by space. It is a positive entity. It is one of the 5 elements. Like space is one which holds the whole cosmos, whether it is Mars, whether it is Jupiter, whether it is the sun, whether it is the Milky Way, everything is in space. And it is one. It appears as small room space. It appears as the big space of the cosmos, but it is one, Ekam. Similarly, consciousness is Ekam. One principle behind this entire creation. The whole creation comes in this consciousness, Shaitraknya. Space cannot be conditioned by the walls of a room. That means the body has got a covering. The skin covers the body. It cannot cover the consciousness because it is one principle. You cannot say that the body is covering the space. No, because space is so vast. Similarly, consciousness is beyond space. Space itself cannot cover consciousness. It cannot be, when I say cover, means what? It cannot be conditioned by the consciousness, cannot be conditioned by the body or the mind. Consciousness exists by itself. Nirgunam. These are all the features of this consciousness. Nirgunam means what? It is not, does not have gunas. It does not have attributes. I am a man, I am a woman, I am a child, I am an adult. All these are all properties of the body. They belong to the body, but it doesn't belong to the content space. Similarly, Chaitanya Swarupam, the pure being, the pure consciousness, is the one knowing principle in the universe. Knower is free from the properties of the known. I am the knower of the body. I am free from the properties of the body. See, these are the ways by which, if my mind can hold on to this Shaitraknya, this seer in me, this hearer in me, that one principle which is the seer, hearer, smeller, in this body there is only one entity. Who is the seer? Who is the, it is the same as the hearer. Who is the hearer? It is the same as the taster. Who is the taster? The same as the toucher, feeler. That principle is called as Shaitraknya. It is the knowing principle. I know the body, I know the mind, I am free from the body and mind. What is this body and mind then? It is Mithyā. It is an appearance. It is there, incidental for some time. It goes away. I see it, it disappears. I see so many bodies disappearing. My body will also disappear one day, but I am not that body. I am the consciousness which is seeing this body. Body, mind, thoughts, ignorance also are all inert principles. They are all drishyam. Drishyam means the seen. Yes, we have studied Drik Drishya Viveka. There also Drik. Drik means what? The seer principle. If you remember, the eye is the seer, the world is seen. The mind is the seer, the eye is seen. The mind is seen, consciousness is the seer. This is how Drik Drishya Viveka taught us. All inert, all seen are inert principles. I see your body. I don't see your Ātma, because your Ātma and my Ātma is the same. One Ātma cannot see the other Ātma. It can only know that the Ātma is one. Drishyam can't show itself by itself. A table will not realize its own nature, and it cannot be known by the table. A stone will just keep lying there. It cannot know itself. What knows the stone is the consciousness principle. What knows the world is the consciousness principle. It is seen. All the inert objects are seen by one principle which is called as Shaitraknya. So in this third verse, you must remember all this is called as Shaitraknya. Shaitraknya is Nityaha. Nityaha means what? It is ever there, eternal principle. And it is Satyam. Satyam means what? It is the truth. It is the truth of all the objects in the world. Without this truth called as consciousness, objects don't have any existence. This Shaitraknya is independent reality. This is a very important fact you must know. If you are not clear about this particular aspect, I can go through this again and again. I can explain to you. Understand this in your own intellect. Understand this. I am an independent existent principle. I exist in my sleep state without the body and mind. Therefore, I can say I am an independent principle. What about body and mind? They are dependent on this consciousness principle, which is existing by itself, but the body mind are dependent. That consciousness which exists by itself is called as drik, or it is also called as drishta, the seer. It is also called as the Shaitraknya. They're all different names, but they mean the same one entity. The next factor about to know about the Shaitraknya is swaprakasha. Swaprakasha means it is self-effulgent. Because it is self-evident, we can say it exists by itself. It is self-existent, and it is self-effulgent. Both together make it self-evident. Nothing in the world is self-effulgent, self-existence except Ātman. Suppose you off all the lights in your room, in your house, and then there is nothing you can see. No objects can be seen in the middle of the night. Suppose you walk outside your house and or in the forest, for example. There is no light in the forest. You're there right in the center of a forest. Imagine yourself. You can't see anything in the forest. You cannot see the trees. You cannot see the plants. You can't see the fruits. You can't see anything. You can't even see your own body. What do I know? How do I know myself? This was the question asked in Swayam Jyoti Brahmana in Brihadanaka Upanishad. There is an Upanishad, very, very famous Upanishad called as Brihadanaka Upanishad. So this is the question the student asked. The Guru asked the student, in what light do you see when the lights are not there? When the sunlight is not there, the moonlight is not there, how do you see yourself? The Guru explains, you see yourself through the light of Ātman. That light of Ātman is what is called as Shaitraknya. It is Swaprakasha, Swayam Jyoti, Adhishthanam. Adhishthanam means it is the essence, the substratum, which holds this entire cosmos. This Adhishthanam principle we take for deeper study in advanced texts of Vedanta. Here we only say it is a substratum. Like, for example, the earth is a substratum for all the creatures on earth. Earth is a substratum. It is holding all the creatures. All the living beings are held on the earth. That is the substratum. It is the base. This is a very famous verse. Nachamastani bhutani pashyame yogamaishwaram bhuta bharna cha bhutastaha mamatma bhuta bhavanaha. The fifth verse of the 9th chapter. I've taken this verse in very big detail when I did the 9th chapter. It only says the same principle, that there is a pure being which is an independent principle. It can exist without all the bodies, all the minds, and that I take it as my own nature. So substratum for the rope snake is rope. What is rope snake? It is a adhyasa. Adhyasa means superimposition. My mind projects something which on seeing a rope. When I see a rope, instead of seeing the rope properly, my mind projects it as a rope snake, as a snake, or a crack on earth. My mind is projecting. Similarly, my mind is projecting the mirage water, not knowing the sand. Not knowing the waker, the mind projects the dream world. Not knowing Ātma, the mind projects the waking world. See, this is how you have to understand the nature of consciousness. We have to use our intellect. It is not very difficult. These are all simple ways in which we can go deeper in our understanding. First, we start with two principles, Kshetram and Shaitraknya, seer and seen. Then what we say the seen is Mithyā. It doesn't have independent existence. We start with the whole consciousness and the world. Two principles in this creation. Consciousness and the inert world. Body, mind, and the world is inert. Consciousness is pure being. This is how we start the inquiry. Then this is the first. I do the analysis. I arrive at the conclusion. This is Ātma. This is Anatma. First step over. This is called as an Adhyaropa stage. These are all specific techniques of the revelation of Ātma. Adhyaropa means superimposition. On consciousness, I superimpose the entire body, mind, and the world. And I say, yes, the body, mind, and world exists. I also exist as the pure consciousness. So this is Dvaitam. Two, duality principle. But this is not the end. The end is what? You go to the second step. In the second step, what is the inquiry I do? I can exist by myself. This Atma can exist in sleep by itself. It is the pure nature, my own pure nature. And the body, mind, and the world is Mithyā. I am Satya. There is no translation for Mithyā and Satyam. So you have to use two words called as Mithyā and Satya. There's no translation in English for this. Satyam means independent principle. It is the truth. Ultimate truth of the universe is Satya. There is no English translation. It is Satya. You use the word Satya. What is Mithyā? Mithyā means it is an appearance. Like the dream. It appears and goes. The whole waking state also appears and goes. The sleep state also comes and goes. What is the substratum? What is holding all this is this Shaitraknya. So we end with the non-dual Shaitraknya. That is why Shankaracharya, who is the greatest Acharya, the teacher of the Bhagavad Gita, the teacher of the Upanishads, he has written commentaries on 10 Upanishads. And he has written commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. He has written a commentary on the Brahma Sutra. These three commentaries are the fundamental base material for all teachers of the world. Till today, everybody uses the same commentary. They analyze his style of thinking. What I am teaching now is exactly what I have learned from my guru. My guru has learned from his guru. And how did he learn? He learned through the analysis of Shankaracharya. Because these verses of the Bhagavad Gita, it's not easy to understand. You need a guru to understand, to break down the analysis and do the inquiry. That inquiry process is done with the help of a guru. In one shloka, half a shloka, Shankaracharya has written the entire essence of the whole Upanishads, the whole Bhagavad Gita in this shloka. In this mantra, he says in half a shloka, in half a verse, I state what has been stated by millions of texts. That there is only one pure entity, which is called as Brahman, which is the real entity, which is the pure being. And this world which I experience, including my body, is Mithyā. Mithya means it is available for experience. That is how the creation exists. The creation is a projection of ignorance. That is what is meant by Mithya. And the Jiva is non-different from Brahman. The Jiva is nothing else but that pure being. If you can understand this one half a verse written by Shankaracharya, it gives us the essence of the whole 701 verses of the Bhagavad Gita. Very important teaching. One sentence, Jivo Brahmaiva na paraha. Don't forget this sentence. This one sentence can take you to the ultimate goal at any point in your life. Remember this one sentence. Jivo Brahmaiva na paraha. I am that pure being. I am not anything. I am not this body. I am not this mind. Let my mind keep on remembering this. This is the Shaitraknya. It is the same as Brahman. What is Brahman? It is another name. Then I refer to this body, the seer in this body, the consciousness in this body is called as Shaitraknya. When I refer to the whole universe as the body of the Lord, then the seer of this whole universe is called as Brahman. Includes my body. That seeing principle is my essential nature. Consciousness is the supreme reality. This alone is a fact, and this is called as Jnanam. The word Jnanam means knowledge. Knowledge, when we say in Sanskrit, it means self-knowledge, knowledge of Ātman. That is the correct meaning of Jnanam. What about the knowledge of the world? Those are all objective knowledge. Paravidya, aparavidya. In the 7th chapter, we have seen this. Paravidya means the knowledge of the supreme reality, knowledge of the supreme being, pure being, which is called as Shaitraknya. Everything else looks like knowledge, but it is false. Anything you take in the world, anything. You take a flower, keep on analyzing. The red color of the flower, how does the red color come? You keep on going, then you will say there is photosynthesis which is happening. Then you understand what is photosynthesis. You understand, go deeper and deeper and deeper. Ultimately, you will realize that there is no answer to the ultimate essence of objects. They are all objects, they all end in ignorance. Why is a flower red in color? No answer. Why is this jasmine smelling different than the rose? No answer. So anything you take, any object in life, anything you take, it will end up in ignorance. And what is behind this ignorance? The seer of this ignorance is consciousness. Ignorance and knowledge are the principles of the intellect. It is the instrument which we all have in this body. It knows something, it doesn't know something. Knowing and not knowing is a function of the intellect, of the instrument. The one behind the intellect is the consciousness, which is the awareing principle of the intellect. That is me. That knowledge of the knowing of the knower is Shaitra. What do I get by knowing this Shaitraknya? I am analyzing this for 1 hour. I have talked about this Shaitraknya. from different roots, I have come to the same Shaitraknya. What do I get out of it? By knowing this, what happens? I become free from sorrow. Sorrow belongs to the mind. Mind is an instrument. I am not the mind, I am the seer of the mind. If I know this fact, then I can drop my sorrow instantly. Instantly. It's an instrument. It will go. This sorrow will pass. Any event, it can cause sorrow for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. It will go away. It's a time principle. Time itself comes and goes in consciousness. I am learning to be that consciousness in which the time itself is coming and going. The cause of time is consciousness. There is nothing else. That is the final destination which I hold on to, and I can say that I am immortal. Asatoma sadgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya, mrityoma amritangamaya. I am beyond the mortal body. That is my realization when I analyze the third verse of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13. Chandogya Upanishad also has taught the same truth. I'm continuing this because on this third verse, Shankaracharya has written the biggest commentary in the whole of Bhagavad Gita on this verse, the 13th chapter, third verse. He also talks about Chandogya Upanishad, where he says, in Chandogya Upanishad, there is a verse which says, the student goes and says to the guru, I have got a PhD in 100 different topics in the world, 100 PhDs, but I don't know how to get rid of this sorrow. He asked the teacher, please tell me how to cross sorrow in life. Sanat Kumara is the teacher, Narada is the student. And the teacher says, everything you have heard so far, you have learned so far is words and words and words. You have not known the content of the words. The content of the words is something different than the words. Silence and sound. Silence is the substratum of sound. No silence, you will know all the words. Sound arises from silence, exists in silence, resolves into silence. Similarly, all words about the objective world rise from consciousness. They are only mere words. Essence is consciousness. Consciousness alone is jnanam. I am trying to explain the word jnanam, knowledge, because ultimately consciousness is knowledge principle. Pure knowledge about in which there is nothing else. In the same Chandogya Upanishad, he says a little bit, I know after these verses, he says that in which you hear nothing, that in which you see nothing, that is consciousness. That is the pure state, which is the same as what we experience in our sleep with the knowledge of Ātman. Without the knowledge of Ātma, I go to sleep. I will just get up in the morning like all of us we do. We'll just say I had a good sleep and then start my day. That's all. But with the knowledge of Ātma and this third verse, I will say, I didn't go to sleep. I was with my real self. I went to my original home. from where I come every day in the waking state. Every day I come and see this beautiful universe, and every day I go back to my home. That home is called as Ātman. That home is called as Shaitraknya. This is a revelation of the third verse of this 13th chapter. Shaitraknya is the fact, it is a truth. Shaitram is false. False means it appears, it exists, but it is incidental existence. The absolute existence is this Shaitraknya, the seer, the consciousness. This knowing this consciousness liberates me. It makes me free from the body and mind to own up the knowing principle. The Shaitram, whatever I may know about the Shaitram, everything I may know. I can do research on so many topics in the universe. It will all be objective knowledge. It will keep me in bondage, because at the end I will say, I still don't know this. I still don't know this. Anytime we study something, we feel I am insignificant, I am still helpless. There is so much things I don't know. What I don't know is more than what I know. But knowing this Atma, knowing one principle, I can say I know everything. This was the question the father asked his son. The father Guru asked the son after 12 years of study in a Gurukulam. In Chandogya Upanishad, Uddalaka Shaitaketu. Uddalaka is the teacher, Shaitaketu is a student who went to the Vedic school at the age of 12. After studying 12 years in a Vedic school, the son comes back home. The father asks him one question. Do you know one thing by knowing which you will know everything in the universe? Did your teacher teach you? The father asked the son. The son says, I don't think there exists something like this. How can there exist? Knowing one, I think you can know the whole universe. I don't think even the teacher knew it. Therefore, if he had known it, he would have told me. So I don't think the teacher also knows this. Then the father explains to him through different examples, and he says, know the seed, you will know the whole Ashwatha tree. He asked the son to bring a seed and says, can you see the whole Ashwatha tree in this seed? No, because it is an unmanifest condition. It manifests as the whole tree, big banyan tree. It all comes from the small seed. In that seed, can you see? No. So it is, the world comes in manifest, unmanifest conditions, but what is behind is this consciousness. So the father was trying to teach this, know this consciousness, know this gold, you will know the entire world of world of ornaments. Know consciousness, you know the whole universe. So knowing this seer principle, we will say, I know the world. And this is called as the liberating knowledge. This is called as liberation. This is called as moksha. In Tattvabodha, we learn mumukshutvam, desire to free myself. Desire to free myself by being small, helpless, insignificant, insecure. And in Tattvabodha, it says, no Atma, which is Satchit Ananda principle. This is what it is. That Satchit Ananda is the Shaitraknya. Objects, they exist in the realm of false vision. My eyes are seeing this duality, but it is an illusion. What is behind this illusion is non-dual consciousness, which is the subject, which is me. Parama Purushartha is called as Moksha. The ultimate goal of all of us is this freedom from identifying with the body as me, with the mind as me. If I can drop this identification, I have realized the highest goal of human life, which is called as Parama Purushartha or Moksha. So by identifying with the Kshetram, the field, we will be within Dharma, Artha, Kama. All of us, we have learnt in Tattvabodha the 4 goals of life. Dharma means leading a right life, a dharmic life, a life in which I follow right and wrong. I follow whatever is good, I follow. Whatever is not good, I drop it. That is what is called as the dharmic life. As per the Vedas tell me, do this, don't do this. When I do that, it is called dharmic life. That is the goal, one of the goals, the first goal for all of us. Then we have Artha. Artha means I want to earn. It's a common goal for all of us. We want to have a living, we want to maintain the body, we want to maintain the family, we earn money. For that, we spend time, effort. All of us, even today, we are earning money. We earn money, it is a part and parcel of life. We have a duty to perform, therefore, we need so many things. While doing this, the body, the sense organs in this body, they are demanding certain entertainment from me, the indweller, which is called as Kama, desires. The sense organs are pushing me every day. My eyes will push me in one corner, my ears will push me to the music, my eyes will say, go and see this beautiful Switzerland. And, all the 5 sense organs, my taste sense organs will say, go and eat the best food on this restaurant. So each of the sense organs are pulling me in 5 different directions. They are pulling home the indweller. And who am I? I am not that indweller Jiva. I am that pure being, that conscious being. This is the most important verse in the Bhagavad Gita, the 3rd verse. You can all by heart this verse, contemplate on it, remember the meaning which we have discussed so far, and make this as the goal of life, to know this Shaitraknya. By knowing this Shaitraknya means the consciousness, the seer in us, the knowing principle in us. I am not the inert body, I am the consciousness. Knowing the difference between inert body and the knowing principle is Ātma Anatma Viveka. Step 1. Step 2, Ātma exists by itself. Anatma is dependent on Ātma. If I apply these 2 principles, I will know clearly I am the consciousness principle in this body. As I said before, Shankaracharya has given the biggest classical commentary on this verse. This verse is a sankshepa. It is a summary of what we are going to learn in this entire chapter 13. If you have understood the 3rd verse, you have understood the whole chapter. Whatever we are going to discuss is only this one verse. Vistara. Vistara means in detail. That is the beauty of Vyasacharya. That is the beauty of Shankaracharya. You can expand into 100 or 1,000 verses. Sometimes disciples of Shankaracharya, like Sureshwaracharya, he has written on Shankaracharya's commentary, he himself has written. Sureshwaracharya is a disciple. So on commentary of Shankaracharya, he has written another commentary. So you can write commentaries and commentaries and commentaries, but you should also learn how to bring the whole subject matter into a small summary, sankshepa. So with this, we finish the third verse. We will enter into the fourth verse. I will just read the verse, and then next week we will see the meaning. Tat Shaitram yachayat krishcha yat vikari yataschayat sachayo yat prabhavascha tat samasena me shrunu. Now he says, the Lord Krishna says, what that field is, what is the nature of the field, what are its modifications. I will explain this in brief. 4 things he is going to teach us, which we will do in the next week. What are the 4 things? Now he is going to describe what is Shaitram. Shaitram, as I said, is the body. Through the body, we experience the world. So what he is going to discuss is 4 things. Nature, the form and characteristics, that is called as yadriksha. Yad vikari means what are the modifications of this prakriti, nature. Kshetram is also called as prakriti. It is called as nature. The 5 elements. Yataschayati. Yataschayati means from what has come. From the 5 elements, the entire world has come. So that is what he is going to describe. What comes from what? From the subtle comes the gross. From the gross, we get the whole world. Prabhavascha. Prabhavascha. What are the glories of this nature? The 5 elements, the prakriti. So this we are going to study next week. And so we'll continue this. On the 7th of April, I plan to start Mandukya Upanishad for the Wednesday class. If any of you are interested to know a little bit more detailed about the 3 states of consciousness, waking, dream, and sleep, that is the Upanishad. That is a higher text, but if you are interested, you can join, or you can get the videos. If you're not free, you can just get the videos and watch it whenever you can. If you're interested, just write to us. We'll put you into that group on the 7th of April. Okay, so we'll continue this 29th slide next week. From now on, it will be easy because you have understood the main thing. Main thing is that there is a field and there is a knower of the field. Whatever I experience is called as the field. Anything, joy, sorrow, honor, dishonor, all the thoughts, all this is all field. And who is the knower? The knower is me. I am knowing everything. I am knower of the body. I know my mind. The knowing principle is Shaitraknya. That is in short. Anyway, we'll continue this next week. We'll see if we have any questions. Okay, we'll close for the day. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachade Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. I'll ask Shanmugam to unmute everybody. In case you have any questions, you can ask me now. You can unmute yourself and you can ask the question.
Shekharji,
Yes, Bhagavad.
What is the difference between the objective and the subjective of mind?
Objective and subjective with reference to the mind or mind?
Hmm.
No, you see, you're talking about, you see, when you say subject, you must know that I am Ātma. Ātma is the subject.
Subject.
Subject. That means aham. When we say aham, I.
Hmm.
See, you say I am. I also say I am.
Hmm. So
Okay.
it's subjective.
So anybody, when you say I am, then you stop.
Hmm.
That means I exist. I am, I exist. That is called as the subject. Suppose you say I am 75 years old. That 75 years old belongs to the body. So that becomes the object.
Oh.
So suppose you say I am very angry today. That belongs to the mind. So that mind is an object. So mind is an object. Suppose you say I am hungry. I am very thirsty today. Please get me some water. The hunger and thirst, they belong to the prana. You see, we are all, when we see, why do we feel hungry every day after 3 hours or 4 hours? Because we are breathing. When we are breathing, the breath in us will go and digest the food inside our body. When the food in the body is digested by this pranic Shakti, the prana in us, then what happens is the energy is lost. See, when you eat, what happens? You feel very fit. You feel as if I can do so many things in life. The moment you get up in the morning, you feel, I am so hungry. I must eat first. So that is the principle of prana, nothing else. It is the prana which is keeping this body alive. It is this prana which is keeping the hunger and thirst. It is responsible. Suppose you say, I'm very thirsty today. I want to go and drink a Coke. So you are referring to the prana in the body. It is not you. So when you stop and say, I am, and you stop, that is called as subject. That is called as I am consciousness. I am this life, this whatever Shaitraknya, the name which they are using in the Bhagavad Gita, they are all different names only. But you should be able to apply to us and say, I am this pure being. I exist as a pure being. And body is coming in the waking state. I see this body. The body will be acting in the world. Body has got duties in the world. Bodies will do so many actions because it has got duty. It has got duty to the world, and others will also have duty to this body. Others will come and serve you. Your son will come and say, I want to take care of you. I want to walk with you. So the bodies have got a relationship. But consciousness is only one. That subject is only one. I am that pure being is what Lord Krishna wants to teach us. He wants to teach us the subject in us. Are you clear now what is the subject and what is the object?
Yeah, one is a negative, one is a positive.
Yes, that's correct. One is the positive. Positive is the consciousness. Negative is the body and mind. And the world.
Okay. Thank you, Secretary.
Okay, very good. Any other question? Any other question from anybody else?
I think most of them they don't have. Can
Very
go
good.
back and sleep.
Yeah, that's correct. No problem. So what we'll do is we'll again take up next week the other balance verses. of this chat.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, and good night.
Thank you, Shekharji.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
7:30 today.